Welcome back to another episode of the Peak Signing Agents podcast. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We have a treat for us today because my personal friend, signing service owner Melanie Kilty from Timely Signings is joining us today. Hi Melanie, how you doing today?
Hey Derek, I'm doing great. So good to see your face.
Oh, I'm so glad to see you. You're probably one of my closest friends in the LSS community. You're also one of the LSS ambassadors as well for Kansas and Missouri. So thank you for all you do for the notary community and for being a guest on today's episode.
Yeah, so glad to be here. Thank you, Derek.
Well, how long have you been a notary and how long have you been a signing service owner?
Well, September 16th, we just celebrated 5 years, or I celebrated 5 years of being a notary. Our
Okay.
company, we established in 2020 as a regional signing service and then expanded nationwide in 2022.
Okay.
So 2 years as a national signing service.
Awesome. And has that been fun or what?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's some great days. Like yesterday, I spent the day with my granddaughter and my team ran,
Nice.
the signing service. So I was able to spend a very nice day with her, just kind of, we called it our chillaxing day. So it
Nice.
was amazing and still making money. But I mean, there are days. There are
There are
days.
days, like month end days that we just got out of.
That's right. It was a crazy month end. So it was a lot of
Yeah,
fun though.
but that's good. That's definitely fun and keeps us on our heels and toes. That's for sure. The fun side
That's
of this
right.
business. What made you become a notary? Why did you become a notary?
Well, I was in medical sales and I loved, what I was doing at the time that I was doing it until I started making really great money. And the company that I was working for started messing with my commissions. And once they
Oh,
started messing with my commissions, when you're in sales, you treat the service side of it like it's your own business. I mean, you
sure.
can't sell something that you don't believe in. I can't sell something that I don't believe in,
Right.
so I have to be authentic. And they had great service, but once they started doing those kind of things, I just said, hey, listen, I respect myself enough, that I'm going to get on out of here. So I left. My husband's like, who does that? And I'm like, me, I do that. If I can build it there, I can build it somewhere else.
That's true.
Anyway, and he said, all right, I give you 6 months. You take the 6 months, figure out what you want to do. Well, in the meantime, I had refinanced our house. And guess what? I asked the gal, well, how in the world did you get started doing this? Because I'm thinking I could do this until I figure out what I want to be when I grow up.
Because a signing agent came to your house
Yeah,
for your refi.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I could do this. She was not very helpful at all. In fact,
Okay.
I do not hire her in my signing service
Oh, so she's still
here
she's still doing
locally
it.
because she wasn't helpful at all. Which was fine. It was actually better that I went out and did the work on my own. So I probably should thank her for not being helpful. But I did choose to not be that person. I said I was going to help. I would be the
Okay.
one to help new notaries. If they ask me questions, I'm going to answer them. And we had a little bitty tiny group here in Kansas City who formed, and it's been great since. That was in 2019, so September
Okay.
2019. And then we all know what happened in April of 2020. So
Yes.
I got thrown in the fire pretty quick.
Real
2020,
quick.
I did over 1,000 signings in my first real year of being here.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Trial by
and that's
fire.
where, you know, people would call me and be like, hey, do you know anyone who does signings? And so I just started a really small, local right here signing service where I'd be like,
Right.
well, I can't do it, but someone on my team can. And I'd, send them off. And they would do it. I was only making maybe $20 a signing at that point,
Okay.
you know. It was I was giving, most of it to, the notary, which was majority of my family. I recruited my whole family.
Yeah, because you had your husband, your daughter, right? Yeah, they were all being signing agents.
Two, actually, three of my daughters were signing agents. One really took it. She's actually running my company now, Emily. She really took it. She took it to the next level.
Wow.
Our youngest daughter just did it because I'm like, I cannot get to this. Your dad can't get to it. Emily can't get to it. You're doing it. And so
Yeah.
she would run out and do it. She's actually one of my schedulers now. So it was great
Great.
practice for them because they
Yeah.
understand the process. Um, but they don't want to be, notaries full time. So
Yeah.
it works out great actually.
Oh, that's great. So coming from medical sales, lots of experience with notary work, right?
Right. No,
It's funny
no.
how no one says when I grow up, I want to be a notary. No one says that. But so
Right.
many people have become it. It's just something you find out about. So no one really has a lot of experience in this, and they just say, I like this gig. This is a pretty good gig.
It really, I mean, where else can you make? I mean, even working for a signing service, doing a seller's package, where else can you make anywhere from 65 to $80 in like 30 minutes?
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy.
If it's within 10 miles of your house and, you're printing maybe 10 to 13 pages, it's amazing. I just,
Right. I
more
got
than
a
I
call from
made
a
when I was
signing.
doing that.
I got a call from a signing service last night, and I don't really work with signing services anymore. But I got a call, and they said, "Hey, we're trying to find a notary for a seller packet on Monday. It's like 20 pages, and it pays $75, and it's literally down the street from me." And I was like, "Sure." I would never do a job for $75, but at my stage now, I definitely did a ton of them before when I first started. But
Right?
I definitely
Yes.
wouldn't do it now for me because I have so many
Right.
directs. But I was like, yeah, sure. $75 is $75. It'll take me half an hour. And it's also near a FedEx. So I'm like, it's down the street. It'll take me 2 minutes to drive there, another 5 minutes to drive to FedEx. It'll take me probably 20 minutes at the signing because I told them, have your IDs ready, have your bank information ready because it's a seller. I'm
You
like,
set it up. That's right.
I'm gonna make $75 in an hour. I'm not too bougie to make $75 for an hour. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, $75 in an hour. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Who can do that?
it's a pretty good gig.
It really is.
You
It
talked about
really
you
is.
were in
It's great.
medical sales, and you did pretty good at it. You're commission based, which is how we are as signing agents. We're all commission based. I just had a meetup with my local Utah notaries, and I was letting them just kind of talk, and we are just kind of working things through. And I said, most notaries only do notary training. And that's the only type of training they do, like this podcast, for example, or a course. And I'm like, don't forget, everybody, we're all self-employed. We're all entrepreneurs. We should always be learning other skills besides just notary skills because we're business owners. We should be learning marketing skills. We should be learning bookkeeping skills. And we should be learning, in my opinion, most important, sales skills.
You
So
have
for,
to.
yes, so I've taken a lot of sales courses and sales trainings, and I'm sure you have too, doing medical sales. Is there someone or something that you really liked or maybe helped you with your sales skills?
The second that I realized that executives put their pants on one leg at a time, just like
Yeah.
I do. They're just human beings that have families. They're, going into work just like you are every single day. And once I like quit putting them in some other realm of, they're going to determine whether I have a job or not,
Uh-huh.
or something of that sort, it totally flipped a switch in my brain. And that was the ticker.
Okay.
old school, you know, Tony Robbins, sales skills. I mean, just Darren Hardy, he's another
Oh, Darren
one.
Hardy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to him. Mark Hunter, he has a great podcast. He does like an intro podcast on Monday. It's like 5 minutes long and just kind of, suits you up for the week. And then he does a longer podcast later in the week. It's
Oh,
about
okay.
20 to 25 minutes, but you know, everything that you hear the same things over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I think and everyone's just saying it a little bit different, but the whole thing with sales is believe in your product, love your product, eat, sleep, and drink your product. Of
Hmm.
course, you've got to have some kind of balance, but you got to make sure that you're in love with the product that you're selling. And then if you're not going to buy it, then they don't want to buy it either. But another thing is just be authentic. You've got to be authentic with yourself, with the person who's sitting in front of you. If you're trying to go in with some script or something of that sort, they're going to see right through it. Now, guess what? You got to practice though, right? So, what you
Yeah.
do is you practice on the ones that are like 45 minutes away from you. So, go out and you go into some offices and get what you feels right to you to say. I, drop a card off or a pin my first time I go in somewhere. I don't do the whole take in treats and that kind of thing. For one, I mean, I just heard you say this not too long ago, but you don't know how many people are in that office. You might be bringing in, 15 donuts or 15 cookies, and you don't have there's two people in there.
Yeah.
So um, that's it's for one, it's a waste of money for you, but for two, it's a little overkill for them.
Yeah. I want to touch on a few things you said because these are great. When we're talking about sales, you said you can't sell something that you don't believe in.
Right.
You gotta love your product. You have to be authentic. Practice, 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 practice your sales skills. It's true. Like I would drive to do a marketing and I would just practice it in my head over and over. And the thing I say when I go marketing is almost the same thing I say verbatim every single time because I practice it, practice, and I practice it out loud. So I'm hearing it and I've done it thousands of times. I've
And what's that
practiced it.
do? It makes it you. It makes it you're
Yeah,
authentic when you're saying it because those are the things that, for one, work for you. But you're
right.
authentic when you're saying it. So when you're saying, "Hey, I'm Derek with Peak Signings," is so and so here or whatever, you're all set. You already
Exactly.
know that, and you believe it.
Right.
That's another thing. You got to believe it when you're looking someone in the face. They know. People's instincts, they just know, hey, oh.
Right. It's so true. They see it. And that's why I want them to see my face when I go in, when I do face to face, because I want them to see my confidence. I want them to see me looking in their eye. I'm not scared to look them in the eye and do my sales pitch because I'm not nervous or scared, even though I'm deathly afraid at the time.
I
My
know.
palms are sweating.
It never goes away though,
It
does
never
it?
goes away.
It never
But you
does.
do it
It
anyway.
You do. I mean, even some offices that I'm already working with, I still feel uncomfortable walking in. I'm just like, oh
Yes.
God, don't say
Me
anything dumb,
too. Me too. Yes, because yeah, because for whatever reason, you still feel nervous going in there because you maybe don't see them as often or don't get as many orders from them, and you have less email communication. So you still feel a little nervous walking in there, but then when you get in, you're like, it's good times anyway.
It is.
So,
It is. I have an office that I actually have a desk at now.
oh, okay, because you're in there so
I'm like,
often.
well, I told him it was my desk. I'm like, well,
Oh,
if you hire someone, you're gonna have to figure out somewhere else for me to sit when I come in.
yeah, because this is my
So
desk, though. So.
this is my desk, right? They're so
That's
cute.
funny. Yeah, you're right. I just did my local meetup and I talked with someone talked about, it's expensive bringing in goodies every time. And I said, yeah, you know what? In fact, I don't always do that. I do sometimes, but not always because sometimes I want to feel the energy. Because like you said, I've walked in, I brought in a dozen things and I found there's only one or two employees and they only like to book things that they're going to do during business hours. And I'm like, okay, I just wasted I just wasted this money on these treats because they're not going to hire me. And but sometimes
Right.
I want to go in there just to do my sales pitch and just kind of see how many people are in there. How's the energy? How's the vibe? Are we feeling each other? And I'm like, okay, I like the energy here. I'm coming in a week or 2 weeks later to do a follow up, but now I'm bringing in my goodies this time because now it's not gonna, I don't feel like it's gonna be a waste of my money now. I feel like it's really for a really good sales pitch opportunity.
Right. Yeah. Same. Yeah. I think a pin kind of you're lingering in the office a bit.
Yeah,
They're a
that's a good
dollar a
one.
piece. So, you just take your pin and hook it on your card, and hand it over. I know
What
it's
kind of
kind of like
pens
a
do you
weird
like to
thing.
use?
I have logo pins. When I bought them, I bought like 1,000 of them,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
says "Spread Kindness," and it just has
Oh,
timely signings and my name and my cell number and my email address. So, um, they're my husband actually has a bunch of them in his car. He gives them
oh,
out
nice.
too. So
Oh,
I know,
I like that.
yeah,
That's a good one. Do you like
yeah.
ballpoint gel? What kind of pens do you like to use?
Well, for sure, ballpoint, because I'm a left-handed person. You have to think about these
Ah,
things too. A left-handed person who is writing on paperwork with a gel pen is going to smear the gel
yeah.
because we have a tendency to
Drag your
um,
hand across the
drag
paper.
our hands.
Yeah,
So gel pens, I learned very early on, although I love the way they write, a
sure.
ballpoint pen's the only way to go for us.
Ah, I like that. Your pens say spread kindness. Why?
Well, I bought them during the first part of COVID.
Okay.
And I was, and it just popped out at me that was, that's what I wanted.
I like that.
I don't have my
I
logo
like
on
that.
it, anything like that, just my name and,
Okay.
my phone number and my email. That's it.
I like it. That's great. That's
Easy.
fabulous. And I love that message.
I
Spread
think we
kindness.
overthink things. We overprocess things so much that we just never get it done. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
You go to buy the pens and it's like, oh, I wanted this one and I have to have that and it doesn't look right here. And it's just buy the pen,
Right,
or just
right.
just do the thing and it'll all work out. It always does, right?
It really does. Yeah, do the right things enough and it works out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Doing something, finishing, and then actually getting out there and using those pins. There's nothing worse than to see a box of pins sitting there that should be in the hands of people who are going to give you money, you
Right.
know?
Right. No, so you started in 5 years ago, and then a couple years in, well, right away you hit COVID, lowest interest rates we've ever seen. You're busy, trial by fire, you're jumping in there, you're getting a lot of business done, and then started your signing service more regional, local. Was that just
Mhm.
from because you're like, I can't get to everything, but I know somebody? Like, how did you start, how did you start getting to know some of the local notaries?
That was really it. And honestly, I didn't even use a lot of the local notaries here. It was really, I mean, 8 of us in my family were
Oh,
or
okay.
or family or boyfriend or whatever it ended up
Yeah,
being were notaries. So
got it.
um we you know we
So
just
it
took
was it was
care
a
of
family affair in the beginning. So it was just a
was
family business in the beginning. Oh, I love that.
it
Okay,
was
great.
it was
And then
and then
where did the go ahead?
no, I'm sorry. And then when everything dropped off in 22, the kids were like going to get their own jobs and
Okay.
I'm like, wait a minute, I went from making just me personally, I went from making anywhere from 10 to 15 to $18,000 a month in Kansas City market to like 3. I was like, what just happened? I'd never lived
Right.
through a downturn. I was not prepared for it at all. And I was like, whoa. So everyone went to get jobs,
Got
because they
it.
were like, "Well, we can't live on 1,000. If I'm making 3,000, they're making 1,000 maybe." And I just never lived through that. So they went away actually.
Okay.
and did their own thing. Still a little bit here and there through signing services, one of my daughters. But yeah, that downturn was like, whoa, what just
Right.
happened?
Yeah, it definitely hit us. We weren't preparing. We thought it was gonna be like that for the rest of our careers, right?
I
Just
know. I'm like, well, this is
booming.
just great.
How, where, or how did the nationwide aspect come about then for your signing service?
Okay, so I surround myself with people who are doing better than I am,
Yeah.
like you. I'm able to get advice from, friends that have already been through what I've been, doing. And I was leaving so much on the table. Well, Mark
Yeah.
had asked me to invite one of
Mark
my
Wills.
friends.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. And he had asked me to invite one of my EOs and to conference. And
Uh-huh.
so she came to conference and she's like, do you do a signing service? I said, well, I can. Yes, I do. And she's like, I'm going to start using you. And I said, okay. She knew that I could, facilitate a notary here locally. And then she
Yeah.
saw that notaries knew who I was and liked me. And, well, maybe not all of them, but, some of them, liked me. And I started doing the signing service nationwide. I got signed up on a signing order and bam. I mean, it just took off from there. Her whole office uses us
Wow.
now. Yeah. In fact, our whole company at some point use us now. Not all of them, and that's okay. We don't have to have all the business, but that has led into a lot of a lot of business.
Wow.
Um,
Okay, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, so it just is organic. I haven't had to force
Yeah.
anything, and I think that's the best. I think that's the best. I don't ever, I don't force my way into offices. I love to be introduced into an office. The coldest I go, I really work a lot with higher ups in a company
Yeah.
because then those higher ups can be like, hey, I just met Melanie. She's wonderful. She's a proof. You guys can use her. And so it's coming from the top, and it's like, oh, yeah, you guys can use her as this, the signing service. So then you can span out and be like, hey, so and so sent an email out last week. I just wanted to come and introduce myself. How hard is that? It's not.
Right. Yeah.
So
Let
fun
me
stuff.
ask you this, just for
Sure.
so the people that are watching or listening can have different views of point of views. As a signing service doing big numbers, what's maybe one of your biggest struggles right now running a signing service?
Well, I was a new notary at one point. So
Uh-huh.
we always have to remember where we started
Uh-huh.
and that we weren't perfect. But my biggest struggle is not the fact that a notary will make a mistake. It's the not caring about getting it
Mm,
fixed in a timely manner to where the people who they just made 75, 80, 90, $100 from may not get their home refinanced or may not get their home sold on time because there's no sense of urgency.
right.
There's no sense of urgency to get, nothing bothers me more than to be texting notaries. I mean, I'll literally be like, I'm the owner of Timely Signings. My team has been trying to get a hold of you. When should we expect scans? I
Uh-huh.
mean, it should never be like that. We should be like when we're closing the signing out, hey, expect scans in 45 minutes to an hour. In an hour and 15 minutes, that's when we're going to be like, hey, just making sure you're okay. I care very
Right.
deeply about the welfare of the notaries that are on the streets, and I
Yeah.
get worried about them.
I,
So,
I message them all the time, drive safely. I
yeah,
always message the notaries that when they think, hey, we're all finished. I want to start heading back, especially if it was maybe a further distance away. I'm like, okay, take your time, drive safely. I'll get the scans when you get back to your home or office. I get it. And that's what I wrote down too. No urgency. Yeah, I totally agree that um, I've said this before, you can't over communicate. Yeah, when you do the
And
completion update, tell us when we should expect scans. Yeah,
yeah,
it's just less back and forth communication if you just do that when you do the completion. So signing agents listening or watching, yeah, when you do your completion, we're all finished. Hey, give an update when you have scans ready, or if they wired the money, or if it's a hybrid, if they already finished the electronic signing portion, like put that in the communication. And then there's
yeah,
just less back and forth because you gotta get on the road and start driving. So we want to do less communication as possible while you're driving. And we have an idea. Like you're right. When can we expect scans, for an example? Oh, you said you
yeah,
told us in an hour. Great, not a problem. Or even like if they said, hey, I have to do one seller packet that's real close nearby, but like in an hour and a half, I should have scans to you. Hey, that's fine too. Just as long as you communicate with me and we're not too close to pickup time from FedEx or UPS. But
right, right.
as long as you communicate, sure, go do that other signing and then I'll expect scans. Yeah. But as long as you communicate that, hey, we're happy. We're happy if you
Yeah.
communicate that.
I'm happy. I'm happy when, you know, if you have a morning signing and you're really busy. So when I would set my day up, especially when we were really busy,
Uh-huh.
is I would not like drop docs from the night before first thing in the morning because I would start my day and then at noon, that's when I would drop all the docs from the night before
Uh-huh.
and then drop the morning docs,
Yes.
as long as I was told it was okay to drop. Now we try to check docs within 5 to 10 minutes. If docs come in, we're on that within 5 to 10 minutes.
Right.
And you should know whether it's good for you to drop or not. We're not going to make you wait 2 or 3 hours to know whether or not it's good for you to drop. But I will tell you. That's how I would work it out. So if it was an afternoon, before the drop time, I would schedule time in my afternoon to be able to drop docs into. Um, Newer notaries, you either if it's a seller's package, we should have scans. You can cam scan that in like 5 seconds. It's so easy.
Right.
It's on your phone. If it's a refi, I'm telling you, I don't think there's a more important piece of equipment outside of your printer, your computer. You've got to have a scanner that you can take with you.
Agreed.
So notaries who scan for their car are at the table, especially newer notaries, and they're sitting in the driveway and they can go in and get it fixed real quick and then head on out. There's nothing better than that. So
When a notary tells me they have a mobile scanner, I get goosebumps.
I know, isn't that silly?
I'm like, oh, tell me again. You have a
Oh,
mobile
office
scanner.
supplies.
Right. It's true.
Love them.
I, in my opinion, you're right. Because if you have a mobile scanner and you can go from the table, if you can bring it into the house and scan it from the table, or you can go to your car and scan it from your car, we're the same way. Within 5-10 minutes, we've already reviewed all the scans and we can give you feedback. As soon as we get,
Yep,
hey, documents are uploaded, we're on it as well. So, yep, we're with you on that. And if you can run back in or be like, oh, you know what? Yes, we forgot an initial here, or you forgot
got
this
the
date.
initials on the
Yeah,
1003.
yeah.
Yes,
You dated the wrong. You mixed your dates up. Can you just do this one thing real quick? Because a lot of times, if it's not too time sensitive, I don't even need to scan on that. You just tell me you got it corrected. Like, okay, great, just go drop it off now. And then you're
right,
right. You don't have to do all that commuting because you can buy. I
right.
was I was looking one time for somebody. You can buy an adapter for your car that you can plug in a mobile scanner, and it was less than $50, and you can get a mobile scanner for less than $150. So for less than $200, you could have a mobile scanner, and it'll make
And
your job easier.
and you will get compliments.
You'll get compliments. You'll
And
get more jobs.
you will get more jobs. So anytime a notary, I'm very quick to do good reviews. I'm very, very quick. I'm like, oh, give them a good review. They did wonderful. They should have more work. Um, I'm very, very slow to give negative reviews. And I think a lot of notaries don't understand that. It's how you handle the situation.
Ah,
Um,
yes.
it is. It's how you handle it. I still make mistakes. I misspelled the lady's name. The EO comes, calls me and is like, you just spelled this person's name wrong. you're gonna have to come back and fix it. And I'm like, oh, I'll be there right now.
Right.
I'm headed there. It takes me 20 minutes to get there. Uh, I
Yeah, I rarely make a mistake. Someone said you forgot your notarization stamp on the warranty. I'm like, no, I didn't. I would never forget that. Then they sent me a copy. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot to stamp it.
I'm
I'll
on
do it
my
right
way.
now. I'm like, oh my goodness, yeah. We all make mistakes, so you're right. I like that that sympathy. Like, hey, we understand things happen. I'm not going to give you a bad review for one little thing.
I might
But
coach you a little bit. I
right,
might, I sometimes I come off very mothering and I apologize in advance for that. But it's I want to help you. That is
right,
helping you. It's not,
yeah,
I'm not condescending you at all. But I've got notaries who are like, I just didn't have time. I just didn't have time. I said, well, this is where time management comes in. You have to make a plan.
right,
I mean, I used to do 14 in a day. And I did
right.
that many, many days. And how'd you do it? Well, for one, traffic wasn't so bad during
That
COVID,
helps.
but two is I had a plan. I knew at night, the night before, this was what I was going to do. And then from there, I would turn around and, drop the docs and I would stick to my plan.
Yeah,
And gosh, double, triple check, double at the table, watch them sign it. Don't be looking at other stuff, watch them date it. Then when they take it, look at it, flip it over. Then when you're done, go back through and say, oh, I just want to make sure we got it correct.
yeah.
That
You actually,
helps.
all right. Couple things here that you've mentioned. I'm gonna write this down. It's the no urgency things where you're going to get a little upset and maybe give the negative review. Having that just no urgency, no looking to fix it. You're like, okay, all right,
If I have to send
fine.
another notary out to fix, it's not, I'm blacklisting you. That is
Yes,
your job. Now, if you have an emergency with your child, or you know what I'm saying, if
right.
I mean, there's only so many times I want to take an emergency for a child situation, but
Sure, sure.
I get that. I have a family. I
Uh-huh.
raised four
Yeah.
daughters and work full time. As soon as my youngest one got into kindergarten, so I totally get that. Um, and but that you also have to understand that that money's got to come from somewhere. And normally, if I have
Yes.
to send someone else out for an emergency, I will only take half of what it costs me from the other notary. So I'll
Yeah.
eat part of it and you eat part of it, and that's
Right.
fair.
Yeah.
But if you just flat out, I'll just take the fee. I will. I'll be like, I have
Right.
to send another notary out to fix your mistake. I'm not going to be able to pay you and the other notary and stay in business. I can't do this on a daily basis.
Right.
So most notaries understand that, and then some don't.
Yeah, exactly. So, the people that are watching and listening to this, I'm sure they're going to be one of the better ones. And so we thank you all. But sometimes you need to hear and see the perspective of the signing service because we got to remember, like what Melanie's reiterating here is we're on your side. We're
We
trying to help
are.
you and coach you and make you do a really good job, not just for our signing, but for all your future signings as well. Someone asked me why I do this podcast, and I'm like, I do it. It was a signing service owner. She asked me, why do you do this podcast? I'm like, I do it for you. I do it for you because I want notaries that you hire that maybe listen to this are getting great gems. I hope you guys are getting the great gems because another thing you just said that I loved is basically you're watching them sign. So you're watching them on the paper do it. Then they hand it back to you. You're looking at it again to verify it. And then when you're done, you review the whole packet. You just triple checked
At the
twice at the
table.
table, and then
Mhm.
once maybe at the table too, but maybe out in the car later. But you basically triple checked. The likelihood of you making a mistake now is going to be very slim. It is going to be very slim the likelihood if you just triple check like that because that's exactly how I
I
started.
still do that.
Yeah.
I don't, I practice what I preach. So I
Uh-huh.
still do that. I see, people just get up from the table and grab their stuff and walk out. And I'm like, you didn't check that,
Yes. Yeah. I'm the
I-
same way. I triple checked it. I watched them do it.
yeah.
When they gave it back to me, I looked at it again, and then when we're done, I flipped through it. It's exactly what I did. And I
Yeah.
rarely, very one out of maybe 2,000, I'll miss or make something. But and I know exactly when it was. I'm like, oh God, we were just in a conversation. We are having a good conversation. I just wasn't paying attention too closely.
My last mistake my last mistake I made was I was working for Chicago Title and I work in two states. So I'm Missouri and Kansas.
Uh-huh.
So I live right on the border of, of Missouri and in Missouri, but I can work in Kansas, which a lot of my work is in Kansas. I stamped everything with my Missouri stamp.
Oh no.
I know. And I did catch it. And I'm like, Kelly, oh my God, I can't believe I did this. I'm like calling her, emailing her. I'll be there at 8 o'clock. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. She's like, that's easy fixed.
Well, you
It
know
didn't
what?
close today.
I'm glad you brought that up because there are a lot of people that are dual commissioned or even triple
Yeah.
commissioned in other states, depending, on the northeastern parts of a lot of states are smaller and compact and it's easy to get between all of them. And so, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, just remember, keep very close eye on what stamp you're using. That's also a great tip for
Haven't
those
done that.
people.
I haven't done that was as far as I know, that's the only time I've ever done it. No one's ever told me I've done it before, but and then actually, not caught myself doing it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I mean, some days you have to like even ask, where am I? What
Right? Where am I?
what state am I in? What county am I in? I've been in all of them. So, but
Oh, it's
yeah.
funny.
And we're gonna get busy like that again. I just hope people listen to this, that
Yes.
you know, don't get snippy and snappy because we're all busy.
Right.
Let's all be professionals and when we make a mistake, yeah, I overbooked myself today. What can I do to help, get this righted? That goes so far than
So
getting,
true.
yeah. So
So
it
true.
just goes really far. It shows your professionalism because you know what? When you make a mistake and it gets past me, guess who has to call the EO? Or even
Yeah.
sometimes the owner of the company if it's big enough mistake.
Yeah,
Or,
I've had to do that. Yeah.
I know.
I've had to write a check to the title company for mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Or, giving up your fee,
Hmm.
because, the job just didn't get done to the quality that we hold ourselves to. Um, that's that's the quintessential blacklist. If I have to give out the fee because you didn't do your job, I'm sorry. And I'm going to tell my friends and we do all talk.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know me, I don't like go, oh, blacklist this person, blacklist that
Right,
person.
right.
I'm not that. If I feel like that person just doesn't care, I'm going to let you guys know, you know.
Exactly. And it helps the whole community, because that person probably needs to either learn or maybe shouldn't be doing this. And so yeah, yeah, that communication with the signing service owners is helpful. What I want people to take from that are watching or listening is that signing service owners talk with each other. We're friends. We're on your side too, but we have to help. If Melanie's
You-
telling me that a notary just doesn't care and does a terrible job and doesn't care for it, that notary gives all of us notaries a bad reputation. We can't
all of
have
us.
them. Yeah, we can't have them because that hurts you, the one that's watching or listening to this. That hurts you too. And so that's why we communicate it. Like we're doing it to help our notary community. We're all in this together. So I want people
We
to catch that.
truly are. We
Yeah.
truly are. When I get a compliment from one of our EOs on a notary, I will let I'm going to
Yeah. It
let
goes the other
other
way. Yeah.
companies know, hey, listen, use this gal in Chicago. She did a great job for us, um, uh, highly recommend. We had a
Yes.
gentleman who, I mean, the guy just got it done. It was one of those circumstances that was like an hour left before the drop time. And, we've got to get this done and get it dropped. No big deal, right?
Right.
No big
You know,
deal.
We'll do it. We make miracles happen here.
Yeah, that's what we do. But when they make the miracle happen, they made it happen. I just got lucky and called the right person. That
Yeah.
person deserves more business, you know?
Yes.
And they just, and it could be like that for everyone, just do a great job. The first person I'll hire over anyone is someone who has a bunch of signings and has no reviews, no
Yeah,
blacklist, no
right.
reviews, no great reviews, no nothing, just nothing. It's
Right.
like, oh, so they're not a pain and and they're I'm just
And
like,
they have
that's what I
experience.
want. Just go to work.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes. So, like we're saying, it goes both ways. Us signing service owners, we communicate, we tell who the bad ones are, but we also say who the great ones are.
That's
We
right.
share
We
that
do.
information
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes
Absolutely.
both ways when we communicate as signing service owners. It definitely does.
Yeah.
Man, this is great. This is great. I hope people are watching this and are just writing this stuff down, or if you're driving, re-listen or watch this because there's some great stuff here. Melanie, real quick, as a signing service owner, how can someone sign up with you? How can a peak signing agent that does great work, and they're like, hey, I want to show my professionalism with Melanie's team. How can they sign up with you?
Well, you can email us at support@timelysignings.com. My team's
Great.
going to hate me for this because we'll get so many. But put in the subject line peak signing agent, and
Oh,
I'll
great.
know that's you. And I will pay special attention. What I need for you to do though is put your zip code in that email because I can't look you up. I don't know where
You're
you're
not a
at.
geography teacher?
I am not a geography teacher. I only look up zip codes for EOs who say, I need a notary in Ogden. I'm like, I'm calling Derek.
Yeah, yeah.
In Ogden, Utah. I'm like, okay, I'll look up zip codes then, but I don't look up zip codes for notaries anymore. You guys, I would be doing it all day long. So include your zip code, and that would be amazing. So I know you're doing even more additional on top of whatever trainings you've had, but additional training. Listen to Derek. So appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean that just shows if you put that in the subject peak signing agent, that means you are striving to be a peak signing agent. You are continuously self-improving and trying to become the best signing agent you can possibly be. And that's what this podcast is for, is to make you the best you can possibly be, to bring the best value so that guess what? You make the most money. That's the goal of
Right.
this.
Well, we're
Uh,
not in this. I mean, it's a great side hustle even. I mean, think
yeah.
about making 500 to $1,000 and, $500 to $1,000 a month. I would have loved that when my kids were little. I had no
Yes.
idea this even existed. But, maybe working 10 to 15 hours a month,
Right.
taking, oh yeah, I can do that one. Click, it's amazing. It's
It
amazing
is.
business.
And that's just from a side hustle aspect. I mean, imagine doing this full time and making 5 to 10,000 a month and becoming a signing service owner, possibly making 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100,000 a month, which some people are and
No,
love it.
I
So, I mean,
know.
it's incredible. Melanie, before we wrap up, what is one fun or funny or interesting story from you as maybe when you were a signing agent or running a signing service that you like to just kind of share to lighten the mood up?
Okay. Well, I have one as a signing agent. So so if you guys can't tell, I'm a bit bossy. I do have I'm very mothering. I don't mean to. It's my coaching style, I guess. Maybe that would be a good word for that. But I'm sitting in the signing, I had I don't want to know if they're like a famous person or anything of that sort. I don't need to know any of that. I don't want to know. I'm going
Right.
to treat the person, next door to me the same as the person that lives in this $7 million house. We're signing documents, and so this guy was just on the phone the whole time. And I'm like, and he kept saying, when we gonna be done? I'm like, when you get off the phone,
Right,
we'll
right,
we'll be
right.
done, right?
Yeah.
And he just kind of looked at me, smiled. He's like, okay, touche, you know. And
Uh-huh.
so he's like, listen, I'm going to call you guys back in 10 minutes. And so I was just kind of curious. I'm like, well, what do you do that, you can't take 10 minutes? It was two refis too. I mean, what is it that
Oh,
you do that you can't take that much time away? He's like, well, I'm a talent agent and I also, help others be talent agents. And I was like, okay, cool.
okay.
That's it's kind of a neat thing. So I got in my car. It was Patrick Mahomes's agent. I'm like,
Wow.
great. So I texted him. I said, I had no idea who you were. Hey, thanks for bringing Patrick to our city. And then I said, I'm losing your number now, and deleted his number. But it was so fun. It was the best. That was the best one.
That's a
So
good one.
yeah, it was.
And if no one's a football fan, Patrick Mahomes is going to be
Oh, I
in
guess
the
I'm
top
from
best.
Kansas City.
Yeah, you're from Kansas City, probably one of the best quarterbacks of our generation, Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes, and for the Chiefs. So that's a pretty cool story, actually.
Yeah, it was really a lot of fun. So he was a good sport, which is great. And we really had a we did we had fun after that, and it only took us about 10 minutes when he got the phone. So it was amazing. So
Those
it
are
was
great
really a
too.
lot of
I
fun.
I love it. I love that face when he's like, "What? How? When can we be done? When you're off the phone and we can start talking."
Yeah, yeah. In my bossy self, I'm like, okay, let's
I
go.
love that.
And then my husband was like, oh my gosh, and then, my family's like, did you ask for tickets? No, I didn't ask for tickets. I didn't even know who he
For
was.
tickets.
I had no idea
Can
who he was.
I get box suites, please?
I know, right? I mean, I'm the notary sitting at,
Hey, but we are important though. We are very important though.
No, I mean, we are absolutely important, but I'm not asking for box seats.
Exactly,
I'm
exactly.
not, I'm not asking for anything at any signing. I struggle if I get choked up and needs a water. I don't want to ask for it. I don't
I
know.
hear you.
It's
I
just
hear you.
me.
I
It's
had to one
me.
time. It was I was in a office and it was like coming out of winter and into summer and they still hadn't turned their air conditioning on yet and it was getting a little warm
Oh,
and I have a unique haircut, which is I shave my head. And when you have hair and you start beading or sweating, your hair collects it and makes the oil in your hair. But when you buzz your head, it just starts running right down your face.
oh
And
no.
I don't want to drip on the papers. So I've had to say, do you have a paper towel I can borrow? And
My
I had to
video.
wipe my hand. They're like, sorry, we haven't turned our air conditioner on yet. And I'm so embarrassed, but I'm like, I don't want to drip sweat on your papers. But it is 85
That's
degrees in your house.
awesome.
What the heck? It's 90 degrees outside. Why is your air conditioner not on? And
Right,
so
right.
I've had to do that. That's not my
That's
favorite.
awesome.
But yeah, the same way. I usually don't ask unless I'm like, I need a paper towel, please. I'm
Right,
beating on your paper. Well,
right,
Melanie,
right.
I appreciate you giving us some time to share some great golden nuggets of tips here because there are some. You look at my scrapbook. I got notes all over this thing from our conversation too. You've got dropped some great gems, and I appreciate you giving us your time because I know how busy you are. And I also want to say thank you for your friendship because we have built such a. I feel like we built such a great friendship, and I truly love it. And I can't wait to see you in 2 months. We're
I
getting
know.
together in
I'm
San
counting
Diego, and I
down.
can't
I
wait.
can't wait. I know, me
Yes,
too. I can't wait. It's going to be a great time. It always is. I love you, Derek, so much. I appreciate, all your help when I call you crazy, with my foreign nationals.
I don't mind doing it at all, not at all.
I, oh my goodness. I'm like, oh my gosh, Derek, please.
That's what I'm here
But I
for.
do appreciate you and I appreciate your friendship. You mean so, so much to me. And my family appreciates you. So
Oh,
thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
And
Yeah,
I'll say this too. Speaking of family, when I told you about my diagnosis and we were over the phone, and then your
yeah,
husband Pat chimed in. He was like, "Hey, Derek, I had the same thing.
yeah.
I'm fine, you'll be
Yeah.
fine. And that was a huge lift off my shoulders. And that made me feel good. And I will just say this at the end real quick. I just got some scans done, talked to my doctors last week, and things are looking really good. So yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that. I
Thank you,
really
thank
am.
you. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
waiting for some test results. They say it'll take like 4 weeks to get some test results back, but I'm like, oh, I want those test results now.
Uh, you're doing all the right things, Derek. You
Oh,
really
thank
are. I
you.
mean, I don't think I've ever seen anyone, who has handled a situation that's, it just gets thrown in your lap. I mean, you get blindsided by it, in the
Yeah.
big scheme of things. I've never seen anyone handle it like you. I mean,
Oh,
and
thank you.
I did not handle it well. Like, when my husband was diagnosed with cancer, um, and it just, I'm so
Oh,
proud of
thank you
you.
so
I
much.
mean, I know it's
Actually,
not easy, and there's days I realize that you're having days, but man, you just don't stop.
I think,
You're
yeah,
traveling to work. You're
right.
just doing all the things, and I mean, you're working harder than I am, and you're carrying around your chemo pack. It's like, wow. I mean, wow, such an
Oh, thank
inspiration.
you. Yeah,
You
even the
really are.
doctors are telling me like, I don't know how you're doing what you're doing because I'll be at the doctor's office. I'm on my laptop scheduling orders and looking at scans and while I'm talking to the doctor about the things going on, they say, I think you've staying busy is what's kind of helped you go through this. I'm like, it probably has.
Yeah, yeah, I
So,
bet so. I bet
all right.
so.
Well,
But
thank you, Melanie. And
right,
thanks, Pat, for me and the family. So I
of
appreciate you and can't
course.
wait to see you in a couple months and the rest of our signing service owner friends. I can't wait to see all of them soon as well. And if people are going to the Loan Signing System Conference, please look for me and Melanie while we're there. Look for us. Come talk to us.
Yeah,
We want to meet you.
want
So
lots of pictures. Yes,
yes,
yes, it's
yeah,
so much fun. I love it. I mean, this will be my fourth one. I think is that right for you too? Is it number four?
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Number 4 for me.
Yeah, Vegas. Well, I was going to the first one. It was supposed to be in San Diego and then COVID shut everything down. And then it ended up being in Vegas, I think the year after
Yep,
that.
that was my
So
first one.
yeah, Vegas was my first one. And then of course, San Diego the last 2 years, which I love.
Yeah.
So
Why not?
yeah.
Why not take a vacation and do business at the same time and write some of this off as a vacation? So
Why wouldn't you,
yeah.
right?
So if you guys are still looking, there might still be some tickets that people are selling because it's sold out, but people might still be selling some because things happen, they can't go anymore, and let one of us know. Maybe we can find somebody that's selling a ticket for you as well to the conference. It's a good time. Well,
Yeah.
everyone, thanks for watching and tuning in to another episode of the Peak Signing Agents podcast, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.